standpoint. Listen to the feminine side. The standpoint. Still listen to the feminine side. The standpoint.
I love that. June is already here. Hey, halfway through the year 2023. That's amazing. Thus far, the Lord has brought us. Welcome to Father's Month on the Standpoint. Yes, the whole of this month, it's all going to be about the men, especially the young men. Today, we have a program for you. 3 very enlightened, very busy, very professional young men who are fathers. How are they managing? And they all have the millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha kind of kids. How are they struggling to fit in? How are they making sure they break the cycle of absentee fathers? It's going to be educative. It's going to be enlightening. And let me tell you, Israelite, citizen, Nathaniel Atto, and the learned Muslim scholar, Rabiu, is going to be very, very interesting. So don't miss it. Let me say thank you to Twinny Crafts for my tie and dye up and down, my beads, my earrings, my anklet, all by Twinny Crafts. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to them. My hair is by Ishilot GH. Makeup proudly by HB Elegance. I am so grateful to them. Oh, we are back. My shoes, beautiful shoes by Awos Unisex Boutique. They are running a 10% discount for the men this month. So you make sure you don't miss it. Right there. They are at Tessano, and then of course at East Legon near the the cemetery, that Bougie cemetery, somewhere around there. They're on the Shashi Road there. It's not difficult to find them at all. Thank you so much to all of them. But my dress was made for me by Leran Collections. We take a break. When we come back, we'll have a very insightful discussion. Welcome to June on The Standpoint. I can't believe it. Next month, July, The Standpoint will be 15 years. Yeah, you heard me right. I'll be back.
The standpoint. Standpoint.
Welcome back to The Standpoint, and yes, welcome to June. That's Father's Month on The Standpoint, and I have the right people to start. Yes, young, professional, busy, in the public space, and raising young children. Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and counting, because they haven't finished. Some of them haven't finished. They will continue. Okay, let me say thank you to Verna Mineral Water for sponsoring us. Verna Mineral Water, has the balanced pH levels. It's very low in sodium. It has all the required minerals, and also they embark on the charitable projects like saving lives and then sharing love wherever they go. Incubators, setting up young people in businesses. And this Father's Day, they have a beautiful project coming. They didn't do anything for the mothers, but they said they are going to do something special for the fathers. But we are so grateful to them. Oh, and let me say thank you to Techno Mobile for giving me this 20, is it come on? Is it come on? That's the word. CAMON, the latest. Yes, they came to surprise me last week with this. Thank you so much to them. Now, let me go straight to my guest. And seated at my extreme left is Rabiu Monday. He's a youth advocate and a father of how many?
3 that I know.
3 that I know. You are a very honest man. You are a very honest man. Welcome to The Standpoint. Just in case some 1 or 2 are brought along the line, so far 3. Okay, that's fine. And next to him, I have Nathaniel Arthur. We call him Citizen Arthur. He is an MC and broadcaster. You should hear him in the box. You know, he does sports in general, but when it comes to boxing, over there, growing up, did you want to be a boxer or something?
Not at all.
Welcome to the Standpoint.
Thank you so much.
And a
It's
father
great to
of
be
how
here.
many kids?
A father of 3 in capital letters.
3 in capital letters. That's for you, you are sure. On that note, I will cause trouble today. I'll move on to the man whose phone will be on silence, but when his wife calls, somehow it will ring. Hey, Charlie, that thing levels day inside. Next to me, I have the Israel Laye. He's the executive head and influencer for Influencer Africa. Yes. Welcome to the Standpoint.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you.
father of?
Father of 3.
Hey, why?
And,
I didn't know this was not planned.
That's quite interesting.
That's very
actually.
interesting. It was not planned. I had no idea.
And sorry, my phone rang in the middle of that.
That's fine. It's Charlie. It's giving me a story. Father of 3. How old are they?
So the first one is 18, 17, and 13.
You know, play. 17, 18, 17.
13. And that's been it.
Louis, I did salute. I did salute. And Nathaniel, you? Ages?
Well, so I've got 3 children, 2 girls and a boy.
Okay.
So an 8, 6 on to 7.
Okay.
And 1 point something. He was
1
born
point
on-
something.
He was born on March 25 when the
Okay.
Black Stars were trying to qualify for the World Cup against, when we played against Nigeria and Kumasi.
So did you miss the match?
So he was
or?
born. So he was born in the morning. The game was
Okay,
played in the evening.
the evening.
But I watched the game from the OPD.
That's a good place to watch a match.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had mixed feelings then.
Yeah, I mean, so
You were excited
this is
about
a boy
the son,
And
then
the interesting thing is that my first daughter was the one who said they wanted a baby brother. Initially, I thought their mother had put them up to it. But then as time went on, I realized, they were serious and it was coming directly from them. And, she also gave me a name. So my son's name comes from my first daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you play to make sure it was a boy?
Okay. But Israel, you don't get boy. You get boy.
No, you get 2 boys, 2 girls.
Okay, so
where you make sure the third one be.
How would I put it? It's like a wave that is a strong wave that's just blowing that nobody has. You don't have any control over. There's nothing you can do about it because. And big shouts to my aunt, Auntie Eunice Atto. So once I went to visit her, and then she says, "Oh, Nyama Baba, you wanna ke? Uta no wanna in chat ko jeme. And me name use una boni chat. Come on, you wanna? Ke actually me like you have interested. I was like, my goodness. So the whole ecosystem is asking for a boy.
Right.
I mean, everybody says, "Oh, you've had 2 girls. You need a boy. They need a little brother to play with." And I'm like, Charlie, relax more. But hey, so like I said, it was, besides my wife also wanted to have a boy.
Boy, yeah.
Very, very difficult pregnancy. Very, very difficult. But everything worked out for good. And he's a lovely little man. He's a strong boy. I mean, when I get home tired from either my event or from work at 10 p.m., and you're trying to jump onto the bed and sleep, then this young man wakes up and is full of energy and now wants to play, know. So
you wanted me, I'm here. Now let's play. You how many the ages?
So I have an 8, I have a 5 going on 6, and then I have a 3 going on 4.
Okay. So I was right. So we are all dealing with millennial, Gen Z, and then Gen Alpha, because the 1.5 is Alpha, I'm told, and we are here between the 6 and downwards. They are the Alpha or whatever it is. But what kind of father did you have growing up?
So strictly speaking, I never met my dad.
Okay.
I was born in Lagos. And then my mom moved us with my big brother to Ghana. And I was still a baby. I was like 2. And So, and he died in 94 when I was going to write my BCE. So between when I was born and when he died, I'd never met him.
Never met him.
Yes.
But did you get to speak with him?
Yes, so in the 80s, early 80s, it was letters. So we'd write letters, you know, to and fro. And then also very fond memories is when it's about Salah time, you get your clothes, you know, your three pieces, your shoes and things like that. Yeah, so we communicated with through letters. But I had a huge support system. My mom had brothers, and so they were like my fathers.
Okay.
Yeah, so they stepped up.
But,
you know, they always stepped up. And I think I got really sweet uncles who acted like my father. And I got away with it because they wouldn't be too strict on me, you know. Lest they'll be called out. So I also had aunts. And I'll say I was raised by women mainly. My uncles will come in just once a while.
So would you say that when it comes to your biological father, he was a provider, but he was not present in your life? Okay.
Yes.
But Israel, what about you? Did you have a bond with your father growing up?
Growing up, I believe, yes, I did. But at some point, that bond, we grew apart.
Okay.
We grew apart because I felt my dad was being too hard on me, you know, and so we grew apart. But yes, my dad is a strict disciplinarian, and you know, I think he overdid it. I think he overdid it because I was just a child who thought I was brilliant in school. And so for as long as I was brilliant in school, I should be given the freedom to, you know, play and, you know, have fun with my peers.
Yes, okay.
But that was what my dad didn't want.
He wanted you to book.
Yeah, you know, he sees it as, or he saw it as bad company.
Right.
And so he didn't think that I should be mingling with them. But yeah, I was just a child, and I thought I should just have fun. But yeah, so that's when, and this will be around 8, you know, from 8, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, while I was a baby, I can't really recall if there was any such. But yes, this is the story of my father.
But did you get the opportunity to reconcile or something?
We have. We have. It wasn't, I mean, at some point, I just decided that, look, at some point, I actually indicated that I wasn't going to have anything to do with my dad. But then again, at some point, I guess I grew up.
Yes, I was going to say you grew up and you matured.
And I was like, I mean, what's the point? I also got to appreciate it from his point of view that, yeah, maybe he felt that this was a way or what he could do or he should do to keep me in line.
Okay. Or that's what he knew.
That's what he knew. Yes. That's what he knew.
That's what he knew. That's how he was raised.
But for me, as a result of that learning, I have decided that, or that experience, I decided to consciously be a different father.
Citizen, what about you?
So this month is 20 years since I lost my father.
The month of June?
Yes.
Okay.
I drove out of the house in Ringway Estates with Dr. Victor Ato. He came, opened the door, sat next to me. We drove to his former office, his office, Ridge Hospital, and the whole day just turned around. We got there around 11 a.m. By 8 p.m., he was gone, and our lives had changed completely. He was a total experience. For the better part of his life, growing up with him, he was single.
Okay.
I mean, you'd have some informal relationships. He and my mother separated when I was very little. So he never got married officially again. So at the time when my father died, my mother was still technically his widow because there was no official breakage of the marriage, in quote. Look, my father had was a multifaceted person, okay? When he had to be strict, he was strict to the letter. And we also had the privilege of living with some cousins, growing up with some cousins of ours and everything. So Ringway Estates, number 2, 9th Ringway Estates was always bubbling with a lot of energy. And I mean, one of them, I mean, my big brothers, my big cousins, by the grace of God, everybody doing very well. And you know, they always, and he always used to tell us that, look, on the day when I die and I'm gone, you will mention my name and see me 20 years down the line. The point I'm making is he kept telling us that we were always looking at his faults and his wrongs, but then on the day when we realize he's gone, we would appreciate him. And we do, it's true, we appreciate him.
While you're watching the standpoint, let me say thank you to House of Food at Iberia. We are so grateful. Mrs. Oforipuku and the family, thank you for always supporting us. We are also really grateful to Juice Time, 100% fruit juices. They have their own farms, the factory, and then they bottle and to the shop. So you are guaranteed that it's 100% fruit juices. Yep, cleaning services, always make sure our environment is clean. Thank you to Phoenix Decor for the plants in the studio. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this beautiful discussion.
The Standpoint. The Standpoint.
Welcome back to the Standpoint. Again, let me say thank you to Twinny Craft for my tie and dye fabric. You know, this year is all being tied up, trying to promote that brand. And then my beads, earrings, anklets by Twinny Craft as well. My shoes by Awos Unisex Boutique. And this month of June, they're running a 10% discount for all the men who work in there. I mean, the shoes, the belts, the polo shirts, and all that, 10%. And we are pushing that. For those who go in the name of the Standpoint, you should give them like 15 or 20. Abby, you know. Thank you so much. And my hair is by Inshallah GH. Makeup proudly by HB Elegance. Now, Rabiu, where were you when you were told that your wife was pregnant with your first child?
Okay, truth be told, my wife travels to the States to have her kids. Well, she is American.
Okay.
And she prefers, I don't know,
to give birth to them in her home.
Yeah. So I sort of know, because we speak almost every day. And unfortunately, I wasn't there when she was going to have my first kid, who was Iman. But I was in touch with her mother up until when she was in hospital, and then she was asked to take a walk to, you know, get her de-stressed and everything, dilation and everything.
Yeah, that's why they do abruchi, no be here.
So I was in touch with the mother, and then at some point I slept off. And then I woke up. My in-law had sent me a message, congratulations to the baby, and I sat for like 5 minutes, you know, letting it sink in, like, oh,
now I'm a father.
Yeah, you know, officially, I'm a father, you know. And it was one of the feelings I can't express it. You know, I think that the other ones that came are not very fortunate. I mean, hey, okay, yeah, next. I'm used to it.
Okay.
But
yeah,
the first one
is always,
was, you know, it was heavy. It was deep. And called her later. We spoke, and I was really, really happy. And I prayed for her, and I congratulated her for giving me such a blessing, and you know, it was great.
Do you find the kind of lifestyle, the thing they say, and how they are not afraid of certain things, you know, totally different from when you were growing up?
I don't know if it's the technology. I think kids lately are too smart. Growing up, it would take a kid maybe 4 or 5 years to start talking. But now at 6 months, kids are talking. And the things they say, sometimes I look at my 3-year-old kid asking me a question or saying a word that I probably knew in SS. And I would wonder where they learned it from, or you know, a perspective they'll bring, and I would marvel, but I won't, you know, let them see, obviously.
Right.
But I think that technology has had a way too much effect on the kids lately. They are exposed to too much information, too much to handle, really, and it's worrying. So I think that's a wake-up call. You have to be in that space, censoring and having honest conversations with your kids about the happenings around them, the things that they're exposed to, TV, radio, and even people around them. You know,
yeah.
the screens are overly sexualized, the music is
Exactly.
overly sexualized, and it's worrying. So we try to have conversations,
Conversations,
those
right.
that I think that they can grasp and understand, and it's
I
not
like
bad.
that because now you have to have conversations. At time you'll be shouted. I mean, I'm older than all of you, but you know, Israel. Just last night, my girl broke my spectacles, and I was just so upset at her. So she slept, you know, crying, and she woke up this morning and first said, "Mommy, I'm sorry, but I was only trying to help. You were just too hard. Everybody makes mistakes." 5 going on 6 years. I was standing looking, I was confused. The ancient days of training was coming in. Then I realized that, okay, chill. You give yourself time. Then we'll take it on when she leaves from school. I mean, how have you done it? 18 years, 17 years?
Yeah. So in my case, it's not been so bad. I always say that I'm grateful to God for the kind of kids that we have. That, yeah, we could say that it's probably due to the way we've brought them up.
Yeah.
But you know, you can do all that you can as a parent, but your kids may not necessarily turn out
True.
the way you want them to. So I feel that we're just blessed to have kids like that. You know, as they grew up, they would walk into our bedroom to say good morning to us. All of them would do that. And this one comes in good morning, another one comes in good morning, another one comes in. You serve them food, and they'll say, thank you, Mommy and Daddy, and may God bless you. You know, so this is the way we've grown with them, and we've made it such that they can come to us at any point in time. We've all tried to build or establish that bond with them and keep them close. So at some point, I would leave the house very early. I'm leaving the house like 4:30.
Yeah, because I'm wondering how you've done it, because you were in the mainstream media and you were morning shows and, you know, early morning assignments.
You know? And then I would leave the house, and then my wife would take care of the kids and get them to school. Then because I leave very early, I'm able to close early and fetch them from school, take them home and give them their food, their homework, we're playing. One of the things I told myself growing up is I turned up about, I really didn't get to learn how to ride a bike until I was much older.
Okay.
And I determined that I was going to teach them how to ride bikes at a very young age.
Okay.
So I recall I actually would come home with them, got them bikes, and they would be riding all over. It gave me a lot of joy.
Do you miss the period when they were very young as compared to now that they are, you know, in their teens?
I really don't, because they're still lovely. They're still lovely kids. And I probably would have also gotten to the point where I'm telling myself, yeah, eventually they're going to leave.
Okay.
So I'm sort of preparing myself for the time when they're not going to be with us anymore. I mean, they're going to be on their own. So
does that scare you?
no, it doesn't, because I also see it doesn't, because I'm looking forward to that period as well, when maybe they're in school and
it's just
I mean,
you
like
and Louisa home,
out
your
of the
wife at home.
country, and then, you know, going to visit them. We're taking
Okay.
trips to go visit them.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And yeah, spending time with the wife of my youth as well. We're just going to be chilling all over. So we're looking forward to that as well.
Do too. Yes, and let me take you back to when it finally dawned on you that you have become a father 18 years ago.
So we were, my wife also traveled. I actually traveled with her when she had to give birth. So we were in the US, and I was there. I wanted to witness it. You know, I had been looking forward to that, having a relationship with my child that, like I said, would be the ideal.
Okay.
What I thought would be ideal. So I was looking forward to that. And yes, I was there all through. And
all three of them, every single one of them, you'll be there.
So not all three of them. I think so. For the first one, I was there all through in the hospital, in the ward. I could be with my wife in the ward. I mean, that was the kind of setting they had.
So what went through your mind when you finally held your child? Like, Charlie, I'll be father.
Yes, I was telling myself, yeah, I'm a dad, but it also comes with a ton of responsibilities. So I had to appreciate that right there and then, that yes, you know, I have this child, but this is where the job starts. Oh yeah, but it was quite.
Did you have some sleepless nights, taking turns to take care of the baby?
Okay, mine wasn't that bad. Yeah, I'll confess. I mean, my wife would often always
get up, let you sleep.
Yeah, and I'll be asleep. But yeah, I also had my responsibilities. Well, I could change diapers and do. I could take care of the kids actually. When I was, it had to be me. Yeah. So the first one I was there. The second one I wasn't there because my wife traveled again, but I couldn't accompany her. But the third one, yes, I was there. The girl, yeah.
Awesome. So you also have 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl. First boy, second boy, and a third, a girl. And I was also looking forward to a girl.
So you were also looking for daddy's girl. Okay, is she a daddy's girl?
Nah, I think they're all loved. They're all loved.
Is she a daddy's girl?
I would say so. I wouldn't say so.
You dote on her?
No, I don't.
Citizen, what's the relationship like, raising those kids?
I have been there for the delivery of all 3 of them. Yeah. It is a decision I took years ago, and I'm grateful to God, you know, for seeing all of those. Right. I remember when I saw my daughter, when I first saw her, I said, wow, that looks like my father-in-law, her grandfather of blessed memory. He was the Drobohine. He was the paramount chief of Drobo traditional area. And so I saw her head, I was like, oh, that's Nana's. And then I had to start thinking of turning my attention. First I was like, let me turn my attention to my wife. I wanted to go there, see if she was okay. Now the baby's here, she's there, she's here. And eventually I held her, and it was a priceless moment. I mean, you can't describe, I don't think I have enough diction to describe that feeling where you carry a child that is your own. I said a couple of things that, look, I will speak blessings into the lives of my children. And obviously there is that responsibility that I have to make sure that these blessings also are made manifest. But of course, there's guidance that needs to be done. There are things that we need to transfer and translate to them. And that is where the commitment begins, you know. There's a lot of talk about relationships between fathers and children.
Right.
One of the things I have always wanted to correct is making up for the time that I lost with my father. Because my father was a very busy specialist gynecologist. He had a social life, a very active social life, you know, and his sense of family was also great. So he was a man of many parts whose time had a lot of demand on it. You know, I can count the number of times my father turned up for open day, you know, at Red Church School. Flip the years and fast forward the years. Recently, because of, you know, my schedules on television, I was about 30 minutes late to the start of what they now call the parent-teacher conference, you know, at my daughter's school. Look, when I walked into the classroom, every parent was seated with their awards. Reina runs up to me and hugs me and starts crying. She starts crying very, very heavily because her friends and their parents were there. I was nobody to. And then I said to myself, wow, this generation, man. You know, I understood. You see, we were brought up to understand the space we were in.
Yeah.
And I understood my father's calling, in his chosen profession.
But it didn't make it any easier.
They didn't make it easy. I mean, look, you'd see people's, and the pride alone that you bask in when your father walks into the school, this is somebody who's a point of inspiration, a tower of inspiration that you look up to.
Yeah.
And everybody's also showcasing what they have.
Well, yeah.
That's my dad, that's my mom, and here you are, you're seated there alone, and there's nobody to look through your books.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the fact that
Yeah.
there was call on his time. There were days when he had to be in the theater, and most of the time it was more of
emergency case.
Emergency, yeah. So his theater days, I remember, was Mondays, and most of the time we had these events on Mondays. So I could count the number of times. But fast forward, here I am. After seeing some of the experiences, I said to myself, I promise I would never do any stressful job. But here we are. You do Sunday to Sunday sometimes.
I know,
and
right?
And here I am. I'm running around. You're driving back home at 3 a.m., one of the things that I always talk about is how sometimes I would be emceeing an event at Kempinski Hotel, would finish around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., drive back to my home, sleep for 2 or 3 hours. These kids are all over you, would get them ready, their mother, everybody. You have to drive back to Rich Church, which is just a wall behind, I think we're friends. I can confidently say that. And about 3 years ago my kids like to express themselves. They create their own cards, they write in them and they come in, and then they'll tell you, I have a surprise for you. Meanwhile, the surprise is right in front of you. And so I remember my daughter, she was asked, everybody was asked to describe their parents, their fathers. And she said she told her class that her dad, and told her teacher that my dad is a very elegant man. I said, hey, Charlie, this pressure there.
but she is apt.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the
There's one like that at all.
Thank you. And so it just goes to also tell us that they are watching. Yeah. They watch every single mannerism. They watch everything you say. They watch the way you relate with your mother. They are watching and they are picking up so much.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why it is important. Charlie, you don't be joking.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why it is important, like Israel said, to make sure and make it a principle and abide by it that you are going to be there either way.
Well, let me say thank you once again to Vena Mineral Water, who are our sponsors. Vena Mineral Water has all the required minerals and balanced pH levels, very low in sodium, and also embarks on charitable projects, and they make sure they share love wherever they go, and then they keep changing lives as well. Thank you to House of Food, Auntie Vera and the team. We are grateful. Juice Time, Bigo Drinks, Yap Cleaning Services, Phoenix Decor, and of course, Mrs. Oforipoku and the family. We'll be back.
The Standpoint. The Standpoint.
Welcome back. Nathaniel, you were talking about some of the challenges you have as a father. Who know what's up? Raising the millennials and the, Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
On the very light side, these kids are very, very confident. They're very exposed. At a very early age, they're having travel experiences and all of that, and they're able to explore, which is very good. Obviously, because of that exposure, sometimes when you issue an instruction, I remember a couple of days ago and their mom is also strong on them. There are times when I have to be the quiet one and she does all the, I remember once she just issued a directive and the oldest one said, oh, but. I said, hey, that's what I said. I said, hey, Nora, your mommy said, do this. Go ahead and do it. Quickly, she turned around. And like Rabbi said, that's where the break point is. There has to be a cap and there has to be a stop or a barrier. When you get there, the discussion it has to be the end of discussion, because it helps to establish a certain level of discipline. It helps to establish a certain level of standards as well. And these kids know that, okay, well, you can get here, but beyond here, you know you can't move again. And, I remember that there was one Sunday I'd gotten ready, I was going for a function. And then my second daughter asked me, Daddy, so where are you going again? I said, well, I see. And she sits back with this, authoritative, boss lady kind of, just make sure you return home early this time. So at a point, I said, okay, so who pays the bills here? Who's putting who in school? Is it, it's me? But long and short is, there's a lot of stimulus as well. Stimulus coming from friends in school, what they see around. Yeah. They pick all of these things up. And so you have to be, the agent, or how would I put it? Yeah, you have to be that agent who puts everything together and says, listen, based on our values and our norms, and based on our family structure and what we believe in. He spoke about faith. Right. Yes, and okay, so I'm Christian. Yeah. And so based on faith, based on our values and our norms and what defines us as a family, this is the direction we're going in. This is how we do it. And sometimes kids will want to ask you for explanations and all of that. Yeah. And they ask a lot of questions. Yeah. They challenge you. I mean, you also need to be up there in terms of they ask questions about everything, So it's not easy, especially considering that, like he said,
especially
the kids are
in the social media era.
Exactly, and you see, the other bit is, I remember once, my second daughter did something which really touched me. Once she walked into the room and we're watching, the television had, classification on it. I think it was an 18+ movie. I said, oh, well, Daddy, I don't want to watch this. This is not mine. I want to watch that. Because the specific channels you watch as a child. This is an adult movie. It's an adult movie. There is no question about it. Okay. There are adult drinks. So you consume this and that. And when you get to a certain age and you feel like you've arrived and you've moved out of my house, then you can also sample what you want to sample. So
did you move out of your father's house before you sample?
That one is for another day.
The other day, okay. What about you, Israel? Because the kids are different. You can't, use the same things that you know. I mean, they say when you know better, you do better. Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you face as a father?
So the challenges have to do more with, sometimes these kids, you're wondering what they're actually thinking about. You're thinking that everything is fine. You see them, well behaved and all. And so you're thinking, okay, they're fine. But then you're also wondering, is there something that they're not talking about? Could there be something that they're not talking about that may come up, much later? I tend to wonder about that a lot, and sometimes too with their schooling, their education, sometimes some of them, everything seems to be going very fine, and then there are others too who, they're having a challenge here and there, and then you're trying to figure out what sort of help do I give them, what do we do to ensure. And sometimes too, you're wondering, am I being too hard on them when it comes to their education, because we've come to understand that every child develops differently. So you can't treat this one the same way as you're treating the other one. So these are things that you have to juggle as a parent. But of all the things that I've talked about, having to make time for the kids, that also means that you're going to make sacrifices. Okay? I feel the sacrifices were not so difficult for me, maybe because of who I am and my personality. But for others who are watching, yes, it may be really difficult because there are people who would love to go out for outdoorings and funerals and social events and hanging out with their friends. But if you have to be in the child's life or in your kid's life, it means you'd have to cut out a lot of these things. And for some, it won't come that easily. So these are the end. Yes, another thing I would say is one of the sacrifices I had to make is at some point I had to make a conscious effort. I knew in the workplace there are things you have to do to convince your bosses that you're heading in this direction or you're the right man for a particular role. But if you're someone like me who would prefer to pass off those sacrifices and rather be there for the kids, yes, you're going to lose on that score. Okay.
But don't you sometimes feel that it's so unfair that you have to make those choices? Either the progress of your career or your children, where you have to choose between the two.
Yes, it is unfair, but I also appreciate that this world is not fair. And so, yes. But I think, for me, I'll say at the end of it all, it didn't turn out so badly. Yes, I may have missed some opportunities.
Yeah, but now
I also gained a lot more. Okay, and I also happen to have my kids bonding really well with us. So yes.
Yeah, can I just add a bit to this, Israel? Yeah. I think about that aspect of our lives a lot, because you look away from here where their economies are advanced, and cost of living is, relatively lower and better. Quality of life is better. And you are here, you have a certain level of exposure based on which you want to give a certain level of quality of life to your family. Maybe you attended this grade of educational institution and you'd want your children to move a notch higher. Based on that, you'd need to expand your income base, and that will also require that you sacrifice a lot more time. Now, this is the flip side of all of this. If you don't do it, then you are not able to get the resources to meet these aspirations. If you do it as well, then there sure is going to be, so it is a very sensitive area, and sometimes when you try to make sense of it, you're not even able to explain that phenomenon properly, because you also have your life to live. Away from everything, you as an individual have your life to live. Now, when you look at the emptiness stage that Israel was mentioning that he aspires to, we will all get there. God give us life. We're all going to get to that emptiness stage. Amen. And you see, at a certain level of everyone's life, something will define your Maslow's need theory. So if you're at your emptiness stage as a man, and you know the thing about us and our proverbial egos and everything, there are things that will feed our egos and will make us relevant and make us fulfilled and achieved. You see, one very simple one is, if your kids are between the ages of maybe 5 and 10, you're a father, you're paying fees. Their mother is doing most of the work, which is like in our case, or everybody's case. The kids at that age do not appreciate school fees. They do not appreciate your breaking of your back. They don't see it. It's on their blind side. What do they see close to them? What they see is they're in a home, they're causing trouble, their mother is the one calming everybody down, preparing the food, bathing them, and doing everything. You are the one who comes in once in a while, changes their clothes, helps them to do their homework, and then you're gone again. But the question is, you're gone. What are you doing when you're gone?
They don't.
Exactly. So it is a very difficult space we fathers find ourselves
Talking
in.
about it, let me come to review, finding the fine balance. So how do you find that balance to make sure that yes, you are present, and when you can't, your children understand why you can't be there.
I think, aptly put, as Brother Nathaniel put it, you can't always be around. It's always, a trade-off between you going out there, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay the fees, I remember one time when we had the second kid, my wife was driving a smaller car. My mom actually suggested that I give her the 4-wheel drive, and I was like, wow. I mean, she should be comfortable. So one time, I think my car had a problem, and I went to pick my wife's car, and then my son comes and is like, "Why are you driving mommy's car?" I said, "Hell, I bought it." I bought it, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that, yes, it's a trade-off, but when you can, like, I try to help them with their homework. I know I'm a really, really bad teacher because I'm not patient. I think that I'm supposed to be smart. My wife is smart. How can't you be smart? And I realized that actually I shouldn't be teaching them.
Yeah.
I should leave it to my wife to do it because, Charlie, how can't you get... I mean, Charlie, we don't pay money. So I tried to leave the secular one for my wife to do, and the Islamic one, I do it because I take delight in doing it, knowing that I only have a certain period for me to prepare them from a dependent child to an independent adult.
Oh.
So the whole thing is, you know what, you have time now, you have the resources, you have their minds open. How much can you influence them, to give them those skills sets that they need so that when they are not with you, they can actually think on their own and function on their own, and you'll be proud of their decisions. Because you don't want to be micromanaging adults.
Right.
They are 18 and you're still worried what decisions they are taking and all of that.
Right.
So at that period where you're with them, you have time with them. Because my kids, they go to school Monday to Friday. On weekends, they're going to Islamic school. So basically, they have the afternoons when we are probably at work, and then the weekends by 2 they are back. So Saturday, Sunday, you're able to spend that period with them till 7 or 8 when they go to bed. And that is when we catch, what happened in the week. We do our homeworks. They ask the questions. We watch things together, and we're able to bond. But their mother sees them every day because she picks them from school, and then they're able to bond. So it's a real trade-off, and I doff off my heart, especially for the ladies or wives that make a conscious effort to help. So all of this will be not if you don't have that partner that also sees the vision and then puts in the resources and commitment to want to make it work.
Time they can make it memorable.
Also involves, sometimes taking trips with the family.
Yeah.
You may, yes, some can afford to take trips out of the country, but it doesn't always have to be trips out of the country. There'll be trips, maybe going to a place here, an eatery here in Accra, or going to the beach, or, taking a trip, to Kumasi or any other part of the country.
I hear there are some waterfalls. Yesterday, I saw some waterfalls near Kitase area, in the Abri area, and I'm just aiming when my daughter vacates, I'm just taking her there.
The other part also, to flip it, is to be able to live in case anything, you're worse off. So I remember one time I brought the kids to my office, and then they were going to get food, and then they took trotro with the lady. And they came back excited, and they were telling me about the whole experience. I'm like, you guys, you don't know. You guys, you don't know. They were excited, they sat in a trotro, and there were people, and, it was adventure. And I'm like, wow, you guys, Charlie, used to queue.
When you were growing up, you hated it.
Used to queue at our station to get transferred to Accra New Town.
See, this is a very, very important point. You see, so that kids get to appreciate that you need to work to earn whatever you have.
Yeah.
That message is something that we must transfer and nail in, push in, and soak in as much as we can. Because we have a generation that is exposed very heavily to social media. We know some of the stories that end and do not end well. People living lives that they do not exactly are and portraying things that they are not on social media.
Yeah.
And so these kids grow up thinking that once you do this kind of work, you must have this and this and that. When the truth of the matter is, it's not that simple. The
So
math.
we come back to what I was saying, that fathers must communicate with their children.
Exactly.
Fathers must
Communicate with their children. It's very
That's
important.
all. Unfortunately, our time is up. And we just...
Let me just make this point.
Okay.
The shade you have thrown me that we don't communicate. We will do better.
No, but you
We
guys,
will do better.
No, you guys are doing well. Honestly, you're doing well. And I'm sure lots of people watching...
We are all guilty.
We are guilty. So
Guilty
that
as
is
charged.
all that we are
Okay.
asking for.
Guilty
That
as
is
charged. We will
all.
do better.
That's all. But congratulations. I mean, we are proud of you and the fact that you made a conscious and deliberate effort to make sure that you are hands-on that. You know, not only are you providers, but as much as you can, you're also present. And you are training and raising your children to become much better than you are. So happy Father's Day to you in advance.
Thank you.
We pray that those who look up to you will also aspire to do much better. Because honestly, trust me, we are tired of women always saying that, and the men, and no. Every woman wants to be proud of her man, and that, oh, as for me, my husband, oh, as for me, we all like that. Just like somebody's phone rang and it was, you know. So we just have a little token from Twinny Craft for you. You know I love beads, so it's the same thing, so you can pass it on. And then we also have water and some drinks from Twillium, that's Venom Mineral Water. And then a package from Geisha and Pepsodent. Happy Father's Day in advance.
Thank you.
And we pray that God gives you more life, more health, and more resources to be the man that you aspire to be. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll be back with a bit of me. To be a father now, wow. Yes, very soon we'll be celebrating Father's Day. And we must admit, some fathers are trying. Some fathers are really, really trying hard to actually flip the narrative and to change the stereotypes. So these days, a lot of young men, especially those who were ready to become fathers and have become fathers, are trying to be hands-on. We are tired of always calling fathers' names and tagging them. I'm speaking as a woman. We are tired. So yes, we want to see men do well. We want to see men become hands-on partners. We want to see men communicating much better. So yes, the few we see, we celebrate, so that very soon we'll be celebrating much more. I was raised by a single father, and there are others who can tell the same stories. We know it's not easy. We know it's not easy trying to be a provider and being a hands-on dad, but you must find a balance. You must find when you can't be there, when you can't communicate and let the children and your partner understand why you can't. Well, we salute the ones who are doing well. The ones who are not doing too well, we say you can do better. We are all trying. Men, women, we are all striving. It's no competition. It's just about complementing each other's effort. That's all we ask for. So yes, Father's Day is coming. Take the opportunity. Celebrate that father of yours and that father figure. And if you know that you've not been doing that, please, quick, do the reconciliation before the day comes. I remain a woman with super crazy faith in God, a typical and very proud daddy's girl, both earthly father and the daughter of God as well. And I know God has given us wisdom. Let's try very hard to use it every time we can. Thanks for watching. See you same time next week. Bye for now.